Welcome back to At the Table for this week's comic call. Jake, you ready to talk some comics?
Yes.
So how do you think we did compared to last week?
A lot less covers of one issue and a lot more variety of different issues.
You don't like half the comic call, 15, 16 copies of the same book?
No, I like it, but...
Of course you did, it was Venom. So we've got some Spidey fun this week, and who's your new favorite publisher?
Just for this week so far, but DC.
Words I never thought I'd hear. So stay tuned as we get ready and talk comics.
Yep. Yeah, so welcome back to At the Table. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jason, father and son team, back talking comics this week.
Yep, and this week is another comic call.
There's some good stuff this week. Definitely a very different week than we had last week, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot less variance of one issue, but there was a great bit of variety.
I thought we would get a break, but there's a lot of really, I think it's heavier for me than it is for you, but you still got some great picks. One of my favorite series is coming to an end, and the continuation of a few books that I've been really getting into. But before we jump into all the picks and the goodness from this week, let's just go ahead and knock out your Carpool pick.
Web Spider-Man number 2.
So for those who don't know, every week on the way home, it's been a long-standing tradition, even before we started it on the video. There's at least one, sometimes a couple, but there's at least one title that Jake cannot wait to read until he gets home. He can't wait the 15-minute car ride home, so he's already into the comic bag and reading, and this week it was...
Web of Spider-Man number 2.
Tell us why this book was your pick.
So if any of you don't know what Web of Spider-Man is, Tony Stark made this school. It's like Strange Academy, but instead of Doctor Strange, it's Tony Stark, and instead of magic, it's inventing.
Science.
Yeah, science, inventing, all that sort of stuff. It was really good. It was action-packed. It's been super funny. And it's been really enjoyable. I was definitely looking forward to this.
And the first issue had the comic debut of Harley
Quinn.
From Iron Man 3, which you really liked. So if anyone makes fun of you for liking Iron Man 3 the best, we'll throw down. So definitely one of our favorites.
Yeah.
So did it hold up to the first one? I know you loved the first one.
Yeah, this one was very funny. It was action-packed. It was definitely good.
How do you think it compares in tone to the other Spider-Man books? This, to me, feels like the lighter,
this is my favorite.
fun. You think because it's just more fun and a little lighter? Cool. Well, it's not the top of my stack, but it's going to be darn close. So before we jump in, why don't we take a minute and look back? It's always fun to kind of say what our favorite was. And I don't think there's any doubt what your favorite was, and we talked about it at length, but give us a couple, let us know what it was and why.
This is going to be a shocker. Venom 200!
Crazy!
Venom 200, again, was amazing. It was the end of the Donny Cates run. He is still picking up, I think he's picking up Hulk, if I'm not mistaken.
Next is Hawk.
Yep, Venom was amazing.
So were you satisfied with the ending? Did it go the direction that you wanted?
Yes, I think the ending was perfect for the book. I did not think the ending disappointed, and I really, really hope that the story picks up and somebody else, really talented takes this.
Well, I think the next person on Venom is Al Ewing, who I like. I'm just hoping the tone matches what you and I like out of Venom. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. But I'm hoping, you're right, it checked all the boxes, especially the father-son, the whole Dylan angle, and Eddie trying to be a better father and the family stuff, and even his relationship with Peter. There's some great moments all around in that book, and I don't think we could have asked for a better finale for a favorite book.
Yep, so what was your favorite?
There were a lot of really good ones, but I'm going to go with Radiant Black. I've really been enjoying this book. I think I've mentioned it a couple times. I was kind of slow to pick up on it, but then they made kind of a twist and turn. It's a book that I'm really looking forward to getting you on, because I think you're going to enjoy it. But it just continues to impress me. I like the direction that it's going, and not quite as big a surprise as what happened last time, but there's some big surprises in last week's Radiant Black, and it just keeps building momentum, so I can't wait to see where it goes. It's just a really fun overall superhero story.
Okay, so you want to get started with our picks?
Yeah, let's do our picks, and then we'll get into our variant/B covers for the week.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with one I feel like I've spoken highly of it. It was never a pick on mine, though. This is Reptile number 2. So I'm going to admit, I read the first one, and then I forgot. I felt like I was going to put it on the pull list, but there were so many great reads that week that it didn't go on that week's 3 picks. This book, from the start, has been amazing. He was in, Amazing Spider-Man King in Black. He made an appearance. he's a really good character. I really enjoyed it, and it was just a really good start to it. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I think we're delving into some stuff with his family life, because I think we pick up in issue 1, he hasn't really been doing much crime fighting, and then the trouble finds him, and then they kind of drop a bombshell about some information about his family, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a fun book. I think it's going to replace some of the other stuff that we don't have anymore as a father-son read. We like that, reading the stories of the younger characters and the family stuff.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with a Cullen Bunn book, Phantom of the Scan, number 3. I'm really looking forward to this one. I recently completely caught up on this. I really enjoyed issue 1, caught up in 2, and we get kind of some surprises, and every one of these has been a decent enough cliffhanger that I've been very excited to see where the next book goes, and it's definitely kept me interested. For those who don't know, I think we've talked about it. I think it's been on our list at least once or twice before, at least in the hall. But here we've got basically a group of gifted people who have psychic or some kind of like superhero type abilities, and it all ties back to Halley's Comet when it came through. These people, something was happening to them. We don't know exactly how that relates to their powers, but what we did know is the more these people use their powers, they're being picked off and are dying. They're either sick somehow or something supernatural is going after them. So, really exciting book. I dig the vibe. Looking forward to seeing where this one goes.
Okay, so next up I have Soak number 4. I know this probably isn't a shocker either because this has been on at least like 3 of my weekly picks. This book is amazing. Honestly, before Web of Spider-Man, like these two are very close in terms of Web of Spider-Man and Silk, but like before Web of Spider-Man, this is my favorite, Spider Family book. It's been really light, really funny. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's definitely not without action or kind of a big bad, but it's light. It is lighter in tone, and I really like her wit, how she approaches the problem, how she's kind of dealing with her life. Very different upbringing than what Peter Parker had, but it's the tone that I like out of a Spider-Man book, and I think we both like this for similar reasons that we're liking Web of Spider-Man.
Yep.
I really hope that we see a regular title for her. I think, unfortunately, of all the Spider-Man stuff, my favorite Spidey stuff these days it's not either Peter or Miles' main read. It's some of the side stuff like Silk.
You want to go on to your last?
Not my last, my next to
Oh,
last.
sorry.
So another one that I am really excited about, and I'm hoping that we finally get some answers because it's been building, and that is Shadecraft number 4. So in the last issue, we start kind of getting a hint of where Zadie's shadow powers have come from and like what exactly it is, and they kind of drop a bombshell right near the end of that issue regarding her brother. So according to the solicit, we're promised more answers, kind of delving more into what and how and why behind her powers, and there may be a chance to kind of bring her brother back from the coma that he's in. So I think we may get some resolution there. I'm pretty excited about it. Great book.
So next up is kind of a shocker. It is DC Infinite Frontier. It is an event book, nonetheless.
A DC event book.
Yes, so if nobody is aware, Infinite Frontier comes off of Dark Knight's Metal.
Yep, which to be fair, we didn't read. It was dark and really not our type of typical story.
Yep, so this book delved really deep into the multiverse. Roy Harper is in it, and Darkseid is also in it.
So we're exploring like what it really like. Basically, after all the events with Dark Metal, things get wrapped up, and it's very much the multiverse exists, all the bad stuff that was out there in these different multiverses, and the damage was undone. So we've got multiple versions of our characters. People like Harper, who we thought were dead, are now back in the mix, very much alive. And along with heroes, we have other people like Darkseid floating out there. And we've not been diehard DC fans. We're been more historically Marvel. So I'm looking forward to reading about, this event, the multiverse, and checking out Darkseid in this event book. What about you?
Same.
Cool. So
Your last book.
So as much as everyone knew that your Venom pick was coming a mile away, anyone who's been watching our videos or talking comics with me is probably going to know what my pick is. And that is going to be Stray Dogs number 5, which sadly is bringing what I think is one of my absolute favorite modern comics, at least in the past few months that I've read. I absolutely have fallen in love with the story, the art. It's just amazing from end to end. It's such a weird story if you think of sort of Silence of the Lambs meets like a Disney dogs movie like 101 Dalmatians or something like that. The mashup shouldn't work. I've said it before, but it does in all the best ways. And I am really rooting for these dogs. I'm either going to be really happy and like touched by the end of this, or I'm going to be furious. But either way, it's been a great ride. I can't wait to read this as soon as we're done.
Yep. So those were our picks for the week. Let's get into our variants a little bit.
Yeah, we've got a movie poster version, and I did pick up a few Stray Dogs issues because it's my favorite. I've been picking up all the reprints, and I'm trying to get that book in as many people's hands as possible. So there's an alternative cover for Stray Dogs number 5. I really dig this cover. I'm digging the old kind of horror movie vibe. There's an It cover for this for one of the past Stray Dog books that I'm really hoping we can track down as well.
So next up is Stray Dogs number 1, the third printing.
Third printing. Isn't it awesome that a book like this and kind of a smaller independent book with such a unique premise is already up to a third printing?
Yeah.
So we've been picking those up. I love, and the covers have been really great. The covers have been different. So that's second
next
printing.
Up, yep, Stray Dogs number 4, second printing.
Another cover that I really like, so this is going in my Stray Dogs pile. I think there's probably going to be some more covers that I go after. So phenomenal book, snapping up as many of those covers as I can. So this week we are getting the kind of the kickoff to the big McFarlane event and the expansion of the Spawn universe. This is one of the B covers that I picked up. Spawn's universe. I like the gunslinger, like the look of him. So this one, as soon as I saw that one, it had to go in the pile.
Yep, so next up is a Scotty Young, King Take Girls, don't know the story.
And let's be honest, we're probably never even going to read this book. I'm not sure that it's not to say that it's a bad book, but it's not anything that's been on our radar. But it is Scotty Young, and you've got quite the extensive Scotty Young collection, and it's pretty cool covers. John put it aside for us, and we added it to the collection.
Yep, next up, Teen Titans number 4. Teen Titans Academy number 4, sorry.
And that's just a B cover, but we've got the A cover in there too, and I just really like it. It's one of my favorite covers this week. It caught my eye. I like it. Number 1, it's a cardstock cover, nice and glossy. The color popped, so that's why that one is in the variant pile.
Next up, Joshua Kazara, Stormbreaker. This is a Gamma
Flight. Another Stormbreaker cover, and I wish we could say we're completely away from the Heroes Reborn. At least this is a non-Heroes Reborn one, and a darn cool cover at that. Maybe one of my favorite recent Stormbreaker covers.
Yep, so next up we have a Patrick Gleason non-web cover.
There's no web. I don't understand. It's actually good to see something a little different.
Yeah, this is a Heroes Reborn.
Yeah, not so different there. And then we keep having to buy Heroes Reborn books because of these awesome Stormbreaker covers, but it is cool to see a really cool cover of Gleason that's just not a rehash of one of the cool web covers that he's done.
You want to get started with our normal books now?
Yep, so going through our normal pile, we've got Good Luck by Boom Comics number 1. And if I was to put this one in D&D terms, this is a world where luck is actually like an attribute, like people have defined luck. It's a thing, but there's a group of kids that I guess you could say luck was their dump stat. They literally have 0 luck. Some type of big cataclysmic event is happening, and these kids that have been kind of down on their luck, pun intended, I guess. No laugh, that's tough crowd. So these kids who are down and out finally get a chance to shine for whatever reason. These people who have no inherent luck, they have a chance to save the world. So it sounds like a fun book. It's Boom, so it's going to go up our list. So why don't you take the next one?
Next up, Wonder Woman 774. It is a variant, I think, a B cover.
Yeah, we finally remembered that we liked the B covers and went back to get into B covers on Wonder Woman.
Yep.
So another book that we fell behind. I think we're 4 or 5 issues. It's not way more than that, but we definitely fell behind because of Future State. This is one that we should try to catch up on soon because we were enjoying the heck out of that book before Future State. Undiscovered Country 13. This book's a little rough, so I've kept you from reading it. This is set, and I'm happy that this book was on a bit of a break, and now it's back. It's been, when it's coming out regularly, it's generally one of my favorites. Did not know originally what to expect with this book, but I picked it up on the advice of Chandler. I think it told me it was a good story, so I went back and grabbed all the singles and read it, and gave your mom at least the first graphic novel, and she dug it. So we've got set kind of in the future. At some point in time, the U.S. has kind of broken itself away, shut our doors. It's very timely for when this story started compared to some of what was happening in our own country as far as attitudes and things going on. But long story short, Yeah, the U.S. hasn't been heard from in years. There's this horrible, like, flu-like thing that goes around. It's a disease killing tons of people. And a message comes out of the country saying we have the cure, come see us. And there's specific people that they want to come in. And these people end up on a journey and find that the U.S. has been split up into this weird post-apocalyptic zones that are based on different American ideals. So far, they've trekked through a zone that was kind of based on free will and freedom, which was crazy, and then another one that was technology and innovation. And so now, as we wrapped up before it went on break, we kind of finished that out, and we're getting ready to explore a new zone, kind of move the story along. I'm excited to pick this one back up.
Yep. So next up we have Game of Flight, number 1. So basically there's this team that was assembled to track down the Hawk and to stop him, and then they ended up siding with the Hawk.
Yep, and they're on the run now in legal trouble of their own because they sided with the Hawk. I think Al Ewing's involved in this one. It's a good one for you to get excited about. Maybe get a preview of what Al Ewing's about before you start reading him on Venom. So I think that's going to be a fun book. Batman Detective. How did we remember to get the B cover on Wonder Woman, but we forgot?
On Detective.
On Detective, which we've done. We'll have to go back and grab that.
Yeah.
So Detective 1038. This is one that we are just pretty far behind on. That's another one that we fell victim to Future State, and then the writer change on this one kind of upset me a little bit, so I've been slow to pick it up. But we're going to get caught up. We've been reading more Batman lately. It seems like anytime we even get closer to catching up, they put out yet more Batman. But we will catch up on that together, and it's on the pull list because when we were reading it, we're really enjoying it. The Bequest number 4. I feel like this is a 5-issue. I think that's Aftershock. Yep, Aftershock. It's number 4. It's been on the list before. I have not caught up on it, so I'm gonna, instead of trade waiting, I'm just gonna wait till the series is done, and then I'll read all 5 issues. It's kind of a sci-fi fantasy thing, as I understand it, and some people are crossing over into what's kind of like our world to retrieve some artifacts. I think it'll be fun. So, next up, we've got another Scoot book from Scout Comics. Just another mention. I really like what they're doing with this imprint geared towards younger readers. This is another instance where they're putting out a first issue at a cheap price. It's only $1.99, and essentially you're getting the first chapter of the trade that'll have the whole story, which is coming out in the near future. So, Claire and the Dragons, from what I can tell, and this is one that I actually remember checking this one out in previews, and I think we both will like this one. I'm going to slip this into your reading pile too. We've got Claire, who kind of lives in this village, and on the outskirts of the village, there's this kind of old crazy hermity guy, right? He's always talking about dragons, and everyone in the village thinks he's crazy. And Claire actually believes him and hangs out with him and befriends him. So as it turns out, he's not crazy after all, and dragons are real, and what he's secretly been doing is kind of training her to take his place and be able to fight and save these kind of pain-in-the-butt villagers from themselves, even though they don't believe in dragons. Sounds like a fun book, and I really like the Scoot stuff, so we might pass that one around as a family. Old Guard Through Time. This is issue 3 of 6. And I have not started. I think I've mentioned it before. I really liked the movie. I liked the first graphic novel a lot of this one. So that's why this one went on the pull list. At this point, with so much other great stuff to read, I'm probably just going to keep it on the list until 6 is done and then just barrel through it all. So next up. No.
Yeah, everybody's tired of you.
Oh.
Okay, so we got this book worked on. We got it pressed. So I have, again, we were really short. So this is one of our few books that it's not current, but we got this week back.
It's something you worked on for your collection this week.
So
what have you got there? Tell us why that book is special, first of all.
So this book is special. It is the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man.
Cool.
And we got it off a online auction.
Yep.
A while ago, and nobody really wanted it because of the tears and everything, but we thought that if we got it pressed, it would look amazing, and I think it looks amazing now.
And who did the pressing for you?
Mr. Mickey.
Yes, our good buddy Mr. Mickey. We are going to get him on the channel soon for some comic talk. He's one of our favorite people to talk comics with, and I think some board games. He's got a great board game collection.
Yeah.
So we got a steal on that because there's a couple of minor tears in this book.
Yep.
And because of that, it's not going to grade super high. So we got a key book that I think is pretty historic. It's like, what, 1979? So it's...
Yeah, it's 35 cents cover. It is a amazing cover. One of my favorite, like, older book covers.
And despite a few dings, the color is just, especially after he was done pressing it, man, they just pop. And it looks so good in that cover. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to send it in. We know it's not going to be high grade. But I think we should talk about that in a future episode, why I think we get things graded for a little different reason than a lot of people do. But long story short, Jake wants this on his wall, so our buddy Mickey was kind enough to press it, and maybe we'll bring Mickey on to talk about pressing and stuff in the future. But he pressed it, made the book look even better, and the goal is just to get it encapsulated and up on Jake's wall so he can enjoy it. It's kind of definitely a piece of history, and Scott Lang is one of our favorite characters.
So you can get back to your volume voice and, talking about all the boring books.
Yeah. Colin Bunn is one of those writers that just seems to be showing up in our pool list more and more. His name is on this one, Shadow Man. That's one that I'm not current on. I'm probably just going to wait a little bit and binge this one. So... here is the A cover for Spawn's Universe. I still have a soft spot for Spawn because when I was, about roughly your age, it's when I got into comics for the first time. Image was a huge thing. Spawn was a huge part of that, so I've been buying Spawn. And I think what's coming up with the Spawn's Universe stuff is probably going to be a pretty cool place for people to jump in because McFarlane is way expanding the Spawn universe. We'll get different characters, a lot of new guest artists and stuff are coming in to kind of do work on this universe. It's an exciting event. So, let's do one more, then let's jump back to what else you got this week. So, Way of X, and I like the X-Men, but it's so hard, and I'm not doing Hellfire Gala, and it's just too much to keep. I'm having a hard time keeping up with, like, Spider-Man and Batman. I can't even think about jumping into X-Men, but I like Nightcrawler, and I've liked these covers, so I picked this up, and I'm hoping maybe I'll be totally lost, and I'll have to ask for some help on some catch-up or watch some YouTube videos or something, but Way of X number 3, I'm going to keep it on the list. I don't know if I'm going to try to catch up or just wait till it to be done.
Okay, so we are going to get back into some of my stuff, so these two kind of, I think, go as a pair. What do you think?
No, drop them one at a time because I got a few more books.
Okay, fine. We'll go with this one first then. This is our Venom 100. We just got this off of eBay.
Yeah, we talked about it. Our shop didn't have it, and so we still had to have it, being the big Venom fans that we are. So.
Yeah, this cover looks amazing.
And who's the artist?
Ryan Stegman.
Probably your favorite artist.
Yep, especially on Venom.
And I think this is just a Virgin cover of one of the other.
Yeah, it is.
But this is one of the cases where I think the Virgin cover looks so much better.
Yeah, and it's really cool. The gargoyle on the front is actually on one of the number 1 covers, too.
Yeah, I did not know that until you pointed that out.
Yeah, this book has been really good. Really enjoy it. The cover looks amazing, and I think this could really be a 9.8 if we get it graded, so.
Yeah, these have been these super big books. We've got so many of the other issues. Yeah. A lot of them had that kind of little tear either at the top or the bottom,
like dings or something.
We so got lucky. Honestly, we picked up another copy at a different local shop
and it was
last week too,
and had a rip in the corner.
It had that kind of that same rip that we're seeing on so many of them.
No, this goes back in my pile. Watch it. Again.
All right, so we'll pick up. I've got Modern Frankenstein number 3. I'm going to catch up on this and decide if I'm going to ride this out or not. It's just once I have a problem. Once I've started and a book's on the pull list, it's really tough for me to pull it off, even if I'm not reading it.
You want to hit that number 1 spot?
Yeah, I'd be the number 1 subscriber at the shop. I don't think that's, even if you're winning, I'm not sure you're winning. Not in that regard, if you're not getting to read them. I'm going to try. I like the idea of the Modern Frankenstein story. It sounded interesting. It was one that John turned me on to, and I thought I'd give a try to, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'm going to try this week and then try to make that the make or break on that. Homesick Pilots number 6. I really enjoyed the first arc of this book. It kind of had a haunted house meets punk rock band, kind of weird mashup vibe. Definitely a really interesting art style and kind of mood of the book. And then, bam, out of nowhere at the end of 5, it went a completely new direction and went more of a traditional comic booky thing. We're starting to get where now the government is involved and they want to basically weaponize these haunted houses. It's weird. But I think this is a book you could read. It's not excessively violent or adult. I'm cautiously optimistic. I enjoyed that first arc in the original tone so much, and they changed it up so much with issue number 5 that I am a little worried we're going to lose some of the stuff that I really liked about it. But I'm in and give it at least a... But I'm in and I'll give it at least an issue or 2 to see if I like the new direction. And we've got Black Hammer. Your mom will be excited about this. She's got more Black Hammer to read. Black Hammer Reborn, number 1. Love Black Hammer. Love Jeff Lemire. One of these days I'm going to catch up on Black Hammer, and I think your mom has actually approved it for you to read, so we will have to catch up on the trades and then break into this current stuff. Why don't you show us another one of your books?
Okay, so for our next, I'm guessing you guys are all going to be shocked that it's a Venom book, Venom 250. So first off...
The 1 in 50, right?
1 in 50, right. So first off, props to whoever sent us this on eBay, because they packaged this great.
That was single-handedly the best packed
Package.
book I've ever gotten from an eBay purchase.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, just from the packaging, like, this thing is perfect. I mean...
Yeah, we got lucky with the 2 books we bought, and
Yeah.
this is another one that they packed it wonderfully. There's no defects. I think this is a put it away to be safe, and put it in. You like having these books on the wall and graded to save, keep them safe. So I think this will be another candidate for you to send out the CGC or CBCS.
Yep. So let
But
me
that's
put
who
this.
did the cover art for that? Remind me. Is that
J. Scott Campbell.
Yep, and you can talk about a little more J. Scott Campbell here in a minute.
You want to go back to yours?
Yep, let me finish off this and we'll close out with yours because that last pick of yours is very
You
cool.
got 3.
Cinder 16. This is, just mentioned it. We love Jeff Lemire. My wife read the Cinder and Ascender. She's back on it. She's read the trades and now she's able to read it current. So that is why that's there. And one of these days I'm going to catch up. We are gluttons for punishment and we are staying on the Amazing Spider-Man title. We've got issue 69. And feels almost hopeless at this point. We fall farther and farther behind. And honestly, it's not the main run with Spider-Man now. It's just not my favorite Spidey stuff to read. So we'll see. We're winding down. The current writer is coming off. We'll get some new stuff in the fall. It's going to be, we'll go from there. And to wrap it up, and this is a book that, if there wasn't so many other great books, would definitely been on my pick list. Robin, number 3. I am really enjoying Damian in this series. It's basically... He's part of a deadly fight club sort of tournament, Mortal Kombat. You actually really like this after you just watched Mortal Kombat. So he's on an island getting ready to duke it out with a whole bunch of other superheroes, supervillains to figure out who's the best. And you're definitely getting classic Damian attitude. And he's running up into some other characters. And I believe he is running in the Connor Hawk in this one. Looking forward to keeping current with that one.
Okay, so the last awesome book of the week. So, this is a signed Venom 3. It is the title before, what's it called, Donny Cates' run. And it is signed by J. Scott Campbell.
And how did you acquire this one?
Mr. Mickey.
Yeah, so you got another book came in.
And one of the things I love about this, first off, is the red label up there.
So it's a verified signature.
I love how they put the authentication in there too.
Well, it's not in there. They returned it, but Mickey included it. It's in the bag.
Yeah.
They don't actually encapsulate the. But they were nice enough. A lot of times when you send that in, they will not. I don't know if he kept it, but it said return to customer. So I'm guessing he sent it in. They sent it back.
Yeah. But there's the authentication thing in the back, and it is a wonderful copy. It looks amazing.
And that's a good way for you to get started, because I think that was your next collection that you were going to try to piece together was to go read that previous Venom run and start trying to piece that whole run together.
Yeah.
So, thanks to our buddy Mickey for some help with some big finds that kind of helped Jake have a better week than he would have otherwise, because it was a little light for him. But I think getting your incentive copies of Venom and getting this awesome signed book, and I love the silver marker on that, and the placement is good. It doesn't ruin the art. So this is a solid book that it's probably going to do at least a little time on the J channel in your room. Mm-hmm. It's a good week for comics.
Yeah.
I know you don't have a ton to read, but I think there's, I don't know, between the Infinite Frontier and I think there's some good stuff for you to jump into, and maybe you can take this opportunity to jump into some things like Shadecraft.
Yeah.
So once again, thank everybody for watching. We sure do appreciate it.
So if you've been enjoying the content, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be updated whenever we post. We try to do at least once a week, or we're guaranteed for the Comic Call, and we're doing some D&D and some other new stuff we're putting down on the channel. So if you've been enjoying this video and you've been enjoying all the other comic calls, thumbs up.
Give us one of these.
Yep, give us some feedback. What you think we can improve on, and some other stuff about the videos.
And if you have a pick, something that we're missing, or you think we've just missed a book that should be on our list, especially if it's a book that you think we should be reading as a father and son, please drop a comment and point it our way. That's how we have found some of our other favorites, is through recommendations.
Yeah.
That's how I found Stray Dogs, even though it wasn't a father-son pick. Someone turned me on to it. I know there's other favorites out there for us that we just were missing, so help us find them.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.